Yeah, we'll talk about it at the next
And
meeting.
we're live. Yes.
Perfect. I want to welcome everyone to the Corporation of the Township of Boncher Valley Committee meeting agenda. I'd like to call this meeting to order.
Hey, sit down back there.
Today is January 10th. It is 1:30 p.m. Do we have any additions to the agenda, Mayor Murphy?
I do not.
Councillor Buckwell?
Then I'd like to talk about fishing in Golden Lake.
Fishing in Golden Lake, okay. Add that as number 4 under new and finished business. Councillor Sanderson?
Actually, I'd like to comment about Winterfest, this event
Oh,
that I
Do you
can't
wanna-
say anything about. You want me to hold?
I
For 2
would
weeks?
just, because I'm
Okay.
gonna have the meeting on Saturday,
Okay.
right?
Well, you
Just
can
good.
bring, maybe
Yeah.
we'll make a note, just
Yeah. that's
send
fine.
an email in for the next meeting if
Okay.
you want to discuss
Yeah.
it more.
To Dana too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Okay.
Councillor Epps? No. Perfect, and I don't have anything either. Could I have a confirmation of the agenda, please? Councillor Buckwell, all those in favor? Perfect, thank you very much. Was there any community interest or the general nature of thereof? Seeing none, perfect. Was there any errors or omissions with the minutes of the last meeting? Seeing none, could I have a confirmation, or sorry, could I have an approval of the minutes of the last meeting, please? Mayor Murphy, all those in favor? Perfect, thank you very much. And we do have a delegation today, Richard Innes from Brain Trust to give a presentation on the findings regarding the Boncher Valley tourism strategy. And in that, we have Richard there as well. Perfect.
Yeah, we should have had a meeting last week.
He is there. If he puts his camera on, we should be able to see him.
Hello, Richard, are you there?
I am here. Thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Great. And then do you have a presentation for us today? You want a net to screen share?
I do.
Perfect. So Annette, do you want to just maybe send the request to screen share?
Yes.
I'm gonna do it off my PowerPoint.
Perfect. So Richard, Annette was sending you the screen share so you can share your screen with us for the slideshow, if that works.
Can you see that?
Yes, we can see that, and we can also see on the side of the screen as well. That's perfect. So we'll give you the floor there, Richard, to walk us through your presentation, your findings regarding the Bonnechere Valley Tourism Strategy.
Great. Thank you very much. I appreciate the opportunity to meet with you today. I want to quickly review at a very high level the strategy that you and your team have embarked on over the last 8 or 10 months. I believe you've received this presentation as well as the full draft report. So I'm going to move through this at a very high level. You'll recall that you embarked on this many months ago to really begin to understand how you can grow what we used to call the visitor economy. Now we call the hosting economy of the Bonnechere Valley. And you wanted to collaboratively work on doing that. So we boiled down a goal to really begin to do that together to enhance your attractiveness, your appeal, and your competitiveness. And that's really the goal of the strategy that we've developed. It was a multi-phased approach. We did a number of things, looked at all the reports, plans, and studies that had been done in and around the area. We launched the project with industry and stakeholders at a session. We held various consultation and visioning sessions throughout the process. I then had an opportunity to present to community my preliminary findings and implications, which I received good feedback and input on. As well as that session, we did an experiential tourism capacity building or training session with all of those who attended. And then the final step is obviously the creation of the plan. There is a bit of a planning context that we took into consideration. 3 things that really drive the work that I do across the country and destinations like yours. Destination alignment, it's really important, especially now, post-pandemic, that we all work together. We collaborate with government, with business, with residents, and really we've come to recognize that that really drives brand and responsible visitation growth within the community. A new sort of twist to our planning context is really taking a locals first approach. And it's really about developing sustainable tourism goals, thinking about resident quality of life, economic prosperity, sociocultural vibrancy, and inclusiveness, environmental thrivability. That's really this connection to community. We used to just talk to the tourism industry, but now it's become more important to engage with residents who live in the community, because tourism actually impacts them both in positive and sometimes in not so positive ways. And then finally, we need to be sure that we're connecting to the visitor, that we're thinking about the visitor's journey, ensuring that they feel welcome and then they can access information and services that really make their visit a positive experience. A number of other things that we've considered is sort of thinking about who would potentially consider coming to the Valley for a leisure experience. We've boiled that down to high value guests. These are people who really appreciate slow travel. They want to spend time in the community. They want to get to know the history, the culture. They want to meet people there, and that's important for us. And we know that high-value guests are of importance to our partners, both at the Ottawa Valley Tourism Association, Ontario Highlands Tourism Association, and as well Destination Ontario. And so we align with their market segments of authentic experiencers, cultural explorers, and free spirits. The second piece of the puzzle is really to think about how can we deliver legendary experiences. We need to understand the assets we have in our community and then be able to make them come alive. These experiences preserve and celebrate the heritage, the local cultures, the traditions, and the natural surroundings and rural landscapes that we find in the Bonnechere Valley. There's also some new realities post-pandemic. And what we're beginning to understand is that we need to develop tourism in a different way. And the hosting economy is a community builder, a job generator, a path to reconciliation, and a protector of natural assets. We need to give equal focus on the economics, but as well the well-being of people and places who live in our destination. I have to say that in the work that we've done, I've come to realize that the Valley and its all that entails is really starting from a position of strength. First of all, I've encountered proud and passionate people, both residents, operators, community leaders, and elected officials. And these folks all have a high interest in community-driven tourism development. Secondly, there's a wide variety of developed, underdeveloped, and underperforming tourism assets present in the destination. And we can find those in heritage, arts, culture, geology, and Bonnechere River associated products and experiences. What I like to look for in a destination in order to move them forward is to recognize the unique differentiators, the things that make your destination stand out from others. And we've identified 3 destination themes within the strategy: the Bonnechere River, the Valley culture, heritage, and arts experiences and products that are available, and then Valley, what I've called Valley geology. The reality is tourism is really, when we want to drive the economic impact in the community, our hosting economy, if you will, we need to have overnight accommodations. And right now, there are not a lot of accommodations within the boundaries, if you will, of the Bonnechere Valley. And so we've got limited accommodations. And so I've built a strategy around extending length of stay. making sure that people don't just stop for a cup of coffee and move on, but that they begin to enjoy some of the things that are available to them, that they stay and have a meal. And then if we could extend a stay from 2 hours to 5 hours to 7 hours, or if we can get them staying in some of neighboring accommodations and come back and visit the destination the next day, that's really the goal. But extending length of stay will be important as a result of not having a substantial amount of roofed accommodations. The strategy really focuses on 3 areas, and it's a 3-year strategy. What we first of all want to do is establish. There's some actions that we need to take in this phase to really support ongoing tourism development. And then secondly, we've identified several actions and prioritize them that when implemented will actually enhance the competitiveness and the appeal of the Bon Cher Valley as a tourism destination. And then finally, once we've accomplished those things, we can really begin to emerge as a flourishing tourism destination with a hosting economy that will deliver responsible, sustainable, and regenerative tourism growth for years to come. There's several recommendations I've made under the various categories. First of all, we're asking council to approve this 3-year tourism strategic plan. Secondly, to allocate resources to implement the strategy. It's one thing to have the things to do, but we need to have the legs and the resources to be able to implement the recommendations that are contained in the plan. I think one of the first steps to get you ahead of integrating this strategy, socialize it within the community, is really to put together a communication plan to launch the strategy. I'm suggesting that you do that during Tourism Week, which comes in May, a nationally recognized week for the sector. Announce the tourism committee that I'm recommending you form, and then begin to complete that website so that at least in day 1 you've got a landing place for customers who are considering to visit. So a number of things in this first establish segment that I want you to look at. I believe there's an opportunity to partner with your neighboring municipalities. We've engaged with some of them already, and you seem to be working with them at an ad hoc basis. I think formally partnering with these folks will add significance in terms of your ability to work and implement the strategies recommended in the plan. And it gives you a much more comprehensive experience for the visitor when you take advantage of the surrounding communities that you find yourselves in. The second thing I'm asking you to think about refining your positioning. You're known right now as the Bon Cher Valley, and I think that's a good positioning. It's got some cachet. It's been around for a little while, but I'm suggesting that you add something to it, that you put a geographical kind of connector. So it would always be the Bon Cher Valley, Eganville, and area, or the Bon Cher Valley and your partnering municipalities. Add that to your tagline so that people get a sense of where in fact you are and what the valley actually entails. So that's one of the things I'm asking you to consider. I believe that the museum is a cornerstone of activity within the community. And so there were a number of opportunities that the committee, the museum committee identified in their tourism relief program, for example. And I think you need to take advantage of those and make sure some of them happen. Hopefully you'll be successful at getting some of the funding, but even if you don't, there's a great list of things to begin to work on to enhance the attractiveness of the museum. And then the unique product themes that I've identified, I think promoting, developing, delivering a 4-season purchasable, curated, visitor-friendly tourism experience is going to be important. It's not enough just to have the product. We need to make that product come alive. That was the reason I delivered the tourism experience development workshop earlier in our process, so that people in the community, residents, business owners can understand how they can make the assets that you have come alive, so it encourages the guests to stay longer in your community. The third thing here under the establish is really to begin to get serious and initiate a council-led Eganville downtown revitalization initiative. And in the strategy, I've given you some suggestions how you might go about that. In year 2, I think what we're working on now is enhancing some of the preliminary work you've done in year 1. And again, it's going to require some ongoing capacity building or training with the operators in your community. And I have made some suggestions of what kind of topics would be welcome to enhance the experience of the visitor. I think there's a number of infrastructure or service gaps that really impede the visitor journey. And if we're thinking about the end user, we have to take these things into consideration, whether it's wayfinding, Wi-Fi connectivity, having EV chargers available, that's going to be important. And again, extending the length of visitation by delivering visitor experiences that are connected to the themes are going to make that a reality. Additionally, we want to create and encourage you to continue your dialogue with Pikwakanagan First Nation. We believe that Indigenous tourism is an important area for us to consider as we develop tourism plans, working in partnership, in tandem with our First Nation partners. And so ongoing conversation with them and encouraging Indigenous-led experiential tourism development will be important as we move forward. And then again, a number of Bonnechere Valley, Eganville and area promotional materials, some of which is already existing from your current Economic Development Committee several years ago developed. We don't have to reinvent the wheel. There's the skeleton of a website that just needs to be completed. There's a great destination map that really can be built on to help guests move forward and understand the area. And year 3 is this year where you really begin to emerge. And I'm not suggesting you don't do any marketing or promotion between now and then, but you've got some partners who are equipped and have the resources to take the Bonnechere Valley experiences to market. I don't think you're ever going to have a sufficient enough budget to go to market. So it's going to be important to provide the Ottawa Valley Tourism Association, Ontario Highlands, and Destination Ontario with things that they can take to market. That's going to be important. I'm encouraging you in this 3rd year to continue to develop new curated visitor experiences connected to the themes, Four Seasons events, and museum initiatives. And then in this 3rd year will be important for you to take a look at the plan and what happens next, to understand what's happening in the marketplace so that you can always have a plan that's forward thinking and moving you along a continuum of responsible tourism development. So that's what I have for you today. Just an overview, a lot more detail obviously contained in the plan. But thank you for your attention, and I'd be pleased to answer any questions.
Mayor Murphy?
Thank you. Thank you so much, Richard. I cannot believe you got this done in the timeline you were given. You know, this is a very high level. I really enjoyed reading your comprehensive report that gives us some places to go with your recommendations. And I did think that it was sort of ironic that we were getting this report after the planes, trains, and automobiles nightmare that was Christmas in 2022 into 2023, because what we were hearing coming out of the airports, you know, families stuck or people without their luggage, was that they were going to start to discover Ontario, that they were going to do more staycations and, you know, go and explore what Ontario has to offer, or even into Quebec. So I think that this report is also very timely, and we certainly will want to get on it. And I appreciate Tourism Week is in May, so that's That's good. That gives us some lead time, but I think that this is coming to us at the perfect time. So thank you.
Oh, thank you, Mayor. I appreciate that.
Councillor Buckwald?
Yeah, I'm listening to your report here and it sounds like it is Eganville focused. I didn't hear you talk about anything about the lakes and resorts and the opportunity, fishing opportunities and whatnot that attracts people to this area.
Yeah, I think as you go through the detail of the report,
Focus on Eganville only,
No,
really.
no, in his big report, he does talk about the other assets.
Okay.
So
This
does the
was just an
website.
overview.
This is the high level, and
Yeah.
then there's an actual detailed report in our packages that was shared with us.
Yeah,
And the website focuses on all those lakes.
Okay.
yeah, but it's very detailed.
Okay.
Yeah, Richard didn't just dump this in our laps and say, you figure it out. He gave us lots of opportunities to utilize all of his recommendations.
yeah, I mean, the worst thing for me is to do work like this and deliver the report and then nothing happened. I mean, that's not very satisfying for you. It's not good value and it's disappointing for me when that happens. So I do try to give you step by step and Annette knows that I'm here. If there's questions and things that you want to clarify, I'm available to sort of provide that insight as you work through some of the details.
I promise we won't put this on a shelf and forget about it.
Yeah, and we're gonna be discussing this, Richard. So we received the report today and we're reviewing it in our next council meeting. We'll be discussing it further after we've all had several more weeks after receiving the report. So we'll be then continue on the conversation, but I did appreciate in the report. You broke down each year in review, so you did the higher level today, but you actually broke down components, be it if I agree with everything in it or not. It was nice that there's a significant amount that you can be like, yeah, you know what, that does make sense. That'll like help our rural areas, better tourism, things like that. So I did appreciate the breakdown. It really gives it a easy to follow is the best way to put it. So no, I do appreciate the work you put into it. Was there any comment?
Well, we also have Discover Egan, well, I think we're changing the name. Is that correct? Probably changing the name.
It's up for discussion at the next.
Perfect. But I agree with Richard as well. There's no point in reinventing the wheel. This document needs to be shared with our partners in EACDG, right? So that we're not trying to duplicate. And we also have to, again, open up our community improvement plan to talk about downtown revitalization. So a few things, I agree with you, Brian, like.
Well, it was
Yeah.
kind of funny this report because I was wearing I remember 5 years ago at the one dinner on the bridge. I was wearing my Discover Eganville t-shirt on the weekend. Me and Katie both had them on. So it's just kind of, I was like, oh, we haven't actually really pushed any kind of more advertising on the t-shirt side because I know EACDG, I think that was about 4 or 3 years ago, we really pushed the t-shirts in it
Yeah,
as well. So it'd be nice if we rebrand, and obviously we're gonna be discussing this up for like further this year, so.
I just want to add, so in
Yeah.
2 weeks, I should be able to give an update on the grant. I submitted a grant on behalf of the museum for tourism relief. So we have some plan in place for, Winterfest, update product development, updating sites within the village and surrounding area. It's quite significant. So hopefully in 2 weeks, we'll be able to communicate that at large and what that means.
I'm assuming after Roma.
And then for Richard, was there any more questions or comments that anyone had? It was a higher level presentation. Well, Richard, behalf of council, we really do appreciate you coming today doing the presentation, and we're going to be discussing this in our I believe it's our first meeting for February 7th when we all meet together. So then if we have any other questions, I'm sure we're going to be following up with you to clarify or give recommendations. So we'll definitely stay in touch, and we really do appreciate you coming here today.
Thank you very much. And I enjoyed working with both Annette and Dana. They were great partners, and you've got a couple of folks who are really committed to moving the community forward. So good luck with that, and I look forward to hearing from you. Thank you very much.
All right,
Thanks, Richard.
thanks, Richard.
Was this report a hard copy or on the internet? I mean, I don't recall seeing it
It's in our package.
today.
It's in, the package for today.
Oh, I see. I guess I didn't.
Because there was the PowerPoint that he just showed, and then after the PowerPoint was his,
Yeah.
it's gotta be 30 pages,
Yeah,
might be more.
it was the draft strategy to
Okay.
be approved by council, but Staff's recommending that the approval be done February 7th, so that'll give everybody time to kind of go through it, and if you have amendments, so we can approve it as amended or as is, depending on how committee council wants to move forward with it. So there's lots of time to review it and, yeah, go ahead and go through it, so.
Can we forward it to the EACDG?
Yes, I don't see any reason why.
Well, it's a, yeah, it's a
I
public
think we
document.
should, before we approve it, to see if they have comments.
Yeah.
Not that I doubt that we would change it much because it's so comprehensive, but again,
I think the museum too, but I can share to the board.
that's a great
We're
idea.
part of
It's
this.
on our website as part of the package too, so anybody who
Okay.
wants to look at it can go and.
Maybe just an alert
Sure,
to them to let them know.
yeah, no problem.
Perfect. So then do we have is Daryl coming in today? Yeah, no?
Sorry, no, Daryl is not. He actually had an appointment today, so he won't be able to come in, but if there are any questions, I know a lot of the department reports are short this month because the meetings were so close together. But if there's any questions on his report, I'd be happy. to
Yeah, a lot
answer
of
them.
Daryl seemed, it was just more, it was similar to the last one. It's just kind of saying that the St. James was completed and that kind
yeah.
of just carried forward and stuff. But was there any questions or comments on Daryl's report for water and sewer? Okay. And then was Jason gonna come in or?
Jason is coming in.
There's 2 items.
Yeah,
I saw him come through the door. So.
so
Okay,
he is in here, okay,
perfect. I'll track Jason down.
okay.
Sure he's having a cookie in there.
Oh, possibly,
Or
possibly,
cheesy Ritz.
yeah.
You may want to take those home.
They were yummy.
Did you find it, Frank?
Still going down.
Yeah, I think it's in the end.
It's an ordinance caucus letter.
The slide here for the attachments, yeah,
Found 'em.
maybe click there. Show the list. Maybe search attachment. I don't know.
Jason, long time no see. Excellent.
Yeah.
Find.
So Jason, walk us through your extensive report.
I was exhausted after reading it.
That's 2 lines.
It is. So the grinding of our wood products at Sand Road and Snowdrift have been completed.
Right.
So what we do is we bring in a contractor that grinds up our C&D from Snowdrifters.
Construction and demolition.
Got that.
And then they go out to our Sand Road site and they ground up all the brush and trees and that kind of stuff.
No acronym for that.
No.
ENT.
Right, and we've been keeping busy with our winter maintenance.
You've been pretty lucky.
Yeah, we worked over Christmas and
Yeah.
it was the best, but anyway.
Hey, at least they didn't shut down our roads like Prince Edward County.
Any questions?
Is the ground brush, is there an end use for it? Do we find a use for it?
Yes, so what we do is we will cover our C&D out at Snowdrifters with it,
Okay, yeah.
or we will, if it breaks down enough, because it does break down very quickly because it does stay hot. If we mix some sand into it, we can use it for cover material after, because it actually turns into very nice topsoil. And that's what we generally do. It will ferment enough. We'll move it from either site to site, depending on where we have to cover for topsoil. And then, it's a cost that we don't have to worry about later on when we have to cover with topsoil. We can use that material up.
Good. Any other questions for council? Perfect, Jason, have yourself a great day.
I know, Tracy, we joke, but for the people, now that we're always on YouTube, for the people watching, it's nice
Did
to
you
know
find
it's
it
speaking
fun?
shorthand,
Exactly. I agree.
right?
Second document there.
And it's a bad habit.
And,
It
and,
really is.
and that was, Dave reaching us online or,
Yes.
Okay.
I don't see him yet.
okay, well, we are 10 minutes early, so if Daryl, I can go find Daryl. We can bring Daryl
Do
in.
you want me to go see if he's in his office?
Sure.
Yeah.
Oh, there's Daryl there.
Oh.
Daryl, you ready? Perfect. Good to be ahead of schedule.
You're so proud of yourself.
No, I'd rather it be like a 15-hour meeting. Those are the fun ones. That's where stuff gets.
No, but then that's right, like we just had a whole bunch of department heads in
Yeah.
just before the holidays,
Yeah.
so, yeah.
Just they're closer they're not closer together than more than usual, but then over Christmas, there wasn't a lot happening,
Right,
so.
Okay, I assume because of the length of the December 20 meeting those were year-end summaries. They weren't really, they were ongoing
oh yeah,
work reports, okay.
we're a going concern.
Okay.
Yeah, and they're all into one meeting today just because we only have one meeting in January. So usually our reports are divvied up.
Cause somebody's going away.
Daryl, perfect, right on time. That's great.
Had a schedule.
Yeah. Well, new year, new council, it's perfect. You're on time.
Brent's very proud.
All good.
Yeah.
Keeping everybody on track.
Yeah, I might even make a doctor's appointment. Perfect.
Okay, so we'll jump right in. So again, building department information item, the monthly building report is attached. You can see that we exceeded last year's numbers. Both for permits and in total revenue, or assessment, I should say. And this year, I'm already starting to feel a lot of inquiries, so
It's great.
yeah. Thought maybe it would be a little slower, because this is my first winter here. I wasn't sure what to expect, but no, that's not the case.
I'm wondering if maybe weather has something to do with it. Like, are people thinking, oh, we're having a light winter, so maybe I can start building earlier?
It's possible. I mean, it is, I know out west, they're dealing with some extreme cold and. I know I do watch the jet stream and I can see how Ontario is kind of going up above us and. We're kind of in that bubble, so that could be exactly
Yeah.
what it is. So,
I was just wondering, I was wondering about your numbers from late last year as well, that they went up.
yeah, so I mean, again, I think we'll see what happens this year. I mean, like I said, I'm feeling out some inquiries and. Go from there. I think it'll be issuing a permit for you guys soon enough, so.
Permits were 100 and. How many permits were there?
Total for building was 86 and 29 for septic. So,
Thank you.
and with the 86, that includes temporary structures, which is a tent for a wedding.
Well, and the thing is, I think like, it's gonna stay consistent or increase for building permits just because like the amount of people on move to this area, it's continuously increasing, like. And not just say on like the rentals end, but people wanna like have that country of living and we've talked a lot, like. I have probably in the last year, I have 4 people I grew up with outside of Ottawa. And they're all moving towards like Renfrew, moving away from the city because they can do their job from at home.
Yeah.
So like that saying, especially with like better internet coming and better cell service like coming, then it's just nice.
Well, even the highway, when it gets down to Calabogie Road, I mean, you gotta get on there, once you get to Armprior, it's a pretty straight shot to Ottawa.
Mhm.
You know, a lot of people do commute, so I mean, there is that.
Yep.
And there is an accident from the city as well. You said people want a simpler lifestyle-ish.
And I wonder what Bill 23 will do to your building permits,
That remains to be seen.
just putting it out there.
So, I guess also I was not well last week, so I haven't got my soft start for cloud permitting started. I have to reach out to Vivek and we're gonna get that rolling. So that's an update. I wasn't in this report. So any questions on building? Okay. So bylaws and, again, I was pretty quiet. I mean, this report was pretty much right after the last one, so nothing's really transpired since the last report. But again, I think I had 17 and most of them are dealt with. So it's been good. People are for the most part being compliant. So
Great.
so we want to animal control. So I have spent some time out there with our last dog in the pound. I did have Tammy bring him out so I could to get a better look at them. I have been doing a lot of reading and talking to people and trying to better understand how to read the body language of an animal. And what I've realized is that I think when I said that he was aggressive was not, I was reading him wrong. What I've seen is a very, he needs to get out of there for sure, but he's very well adjusted. Tammy has spent some quality time with him, that was evident. But and the person that I was talking to was not able to actually attend because we had someone else come out, so I actually told him to back off now. It was just, but the goal is to get him out of there, so.
But the Great Pyrenees is, we had a Maremma. And that's what the Zados had to protect their sheep.
Yeah.
They're the same breed, just two different mountain regions.
Yeah,
And they do exhibit as protectors. That's
Exactly.
what they are.
They're LGDs.
Yeah.
Livestock guardian dogs.
Yeah,
yeah, they typically, what I've been reading is they don't attack. They are very vocal. That they will maybe run to chase someone off, like a predator, but other than that, they do not attack.
No.
So anything on animal control? Okay. Parking.
Oh, I was gonna
Oh,
say,
sorry,
I was gonna say, I emailed into Ned and you as well, just before the next council meeting, just if maybe council could all meet up at
Oh,
12:30 at the
Yeah.
animal shelter and just all walk through it.
Sure.
Especially since we're gonna be discussing it more in February.
Yeah.
So just like, I recommended to probably meet up there at 12:30, it's a small walk.
Each day, the next meeting,
Yeah, at the next
Yeah.
meeting, just kind of make
good
it,
idea.
so at 12:30, we'll all just meet up there and then
Yeah,
obviously
can see
you
facilities.
and Ned and whoever else and stuff. And then we'll just come to the council chambers after. And then good to go.
Yeah.
perfect.
Yeah, that sounds good.
So that'll be part of our package, I'm sure, and Ned will remind us like always, so.
So that's our February meeting.
Yes, yeah, February 7th, I believe.
Yeah, my report is not coming till the 21st, I believe,
right.
but
Yep,
I've already started to get that rolling, so.
Can I just add something about, because when you wrote this, you may not have had all of the information. We do have a rescue who's taking Buddy in. So it's just a matter of identifying a foster to adopt. Someone with breed experience that understands this dog.
Right, do you want a proper policy for that, Annette?
I just need some staff direction. It's not something that we've done prior to
Okay.
and some permissions going forward, you know, because there are costs associated with that. The dogs have to see a vet before things like that, because you don't bring them into another environment who could infect other dogs without
Oh,
going through their
sure, yeah.
shots and that kind of stuff, whereas you don't always do that when they're staying in the pound. So I think maybe just some staff direction regarding that is really all that's required.
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah, we'll be discussing it later as well.
yeah, okay, we'll talk about it when you bring your report. Yeah.
And
that's
then
great.
we'll have visited the shelter and thought more about it as well.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So that's.
So animal control, we're good, so I'll move on to parking. So I have been still going around. I went around again this morning because there was a certain street that was mentioned again, and I issued 2 more violations. I did receive a phone call from one of the people today saying that they've lived there for 6 years and never received it before. They've been parking on the street all winter every night. So I'm going to reach out to her and, for them, I should say, and read in the bylaw and say, pay it, don't pay it. You know, it's entirely up to them. I am working closely with Jim McBain now, because this is a new area for myself as well. And after a certain amount of time, when if someone doesn't come in between the 15 days for the tickets issued, the fine goes up. Then a letter sent out after 21 days, tells them exactly what they're paying. If they don't pay it again, another letter goes out after a certain amount of time, goes up again. The 3rd time it goes in for conviction, and then they cannot renew their driver's license.
Okay, could you put that in your February 21st report? Some recommendations that we can decide on?
Sure.
That'd be great, thank you.
Yeah, I'm like I said, I'm meeting with Jim on Thursday to, and this is a form letter, so. it's-
Is he services the arm prior?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, I remember the name.
Yeah, they do about 4,000 to 5,000 parking violations a year.
Well, no, they're very, like, I lived on Harriet Street at one point, and if you had a vehicle out there at night, you would get ticketed every single night,
Yes,
like.
Well, I
And
think
where this,
during-
we don't have really many parking violations, like right now, we've had
and
10.
today after the 2 today, I'm up to 10.
Yeah, and most of the time it's solved by conversation.
Yeah. And that's the thing, most people that from the first round in went out, they were very good, the vehicles are off the street. And I commend them for doing that.
Well, and I think people have to understand, this is about our plows
Yeah.
moving efficiently
That's right.
and, you know, we don't want, God forbid, a plow driving into the back of somebody's truck because they're parked on the street. I think that people have to understand, this is our winter parking
Yes.
rules. Yeah,
Yeah. And it's not like a very lengthy time,
no,
just, you know.
No, we're small municipality and a lot of, we can have an approachable conversation with most people that solves it.
Yeah, and that's what we're trying to do, but some people, it's, again, you just gotta draw a line.
Mhm.
But for the most part, again, the people are good and I really do appreciate what they've, so. So nothing else on parking, I'll bring some more stuff on the next meeting.
I'm very impressed with your dealing with it and your conviction rate. That's good.
Okay, excuse me. So as an action item, I was asked to, I brought everybody a tiny home package. So I don't know if at some point you want to dive into it a little further. I was doing a little work at it today. The tiny homes, according to Ontario, you can build to 400 square feet. Ours are either 559 or 700. That's in our zoning. Now with Bill, what we learned today about Bill 28, I don't know where we're gonna be going with this. Time will tell.
Lots of information there.
Yeah.
well, I think what we learned this morning was that, yes, we can have them.
Yeah,
So, I mean, if this is an as of right,
it should be interesting.
it's not us saying you can have a tiny home on your property, it's the province saying it.
Yeah, but again, it's just that we have a minimum stand, like a minimum size. I'm not sure if that's going to be a conflict, even in the building code, there's certain room sizes that you have to be adhered to. So I don't know how the tiny homes is going to, I'm gonna do a little more diving into it.
So it's, I guess, so if someone builds a tiny home in our township, then you as the chief building official will sign off on every stage of it. But and then it transfers to another municipality.
Oh, I see, yeah, because somebody did approach me about that. They
Yeah.
called me and said they want to build a tiny home here. And then they want to take it, they're gonna build it here on a trailer and move it to another township. So what they have to do there though is get a building permit from each township.
So it'd be no different than like a Gilchrist home or like a prefab manufacturer.
I don't know, it's a tiny home, I mean, as a prefab.
Yeah.
And I mean,
Hmm.
but you never know. I mean, if there's a niche out there and someone sees the market for it,
Oh, yeah,
they're gonna jump on it, right?
Yeah. Yes, they are.
So any questions on that?
So yeah, we should further discuss it because there may be people on, even on mom and dad's farm that want to put one up to, take advantage of the new ruling and, get a starter home, basically.
Yeah.
They were
No.
on wheels before because they needed to be movable, but that's not necessarily so anymore.
but as it stands, well, as of right now, in our zoning bylaw, in rural, you can have 2 dwellings.
Right.
So all they need is a building permit from Darrell.
Whether or not they
But-
can hook up to the existing septic and well,
And
or they can separate it because of the size of the lot.
right, but I think in town, you're just gonna be giving out building permits.
We're about 3. on-
Yeah.
on services. And we discussed today about setbacks and, you know, the optics when your neighbors and had nothing in their backyard for all these years and all of a sudden boom, about 3 pop up.
Yeah,
You know?
We're gonna need Ann McVean.
I'll just wait and see is.
Yeah, it's
best
gonna be,
approach.
I think I agree with Brett, but I do think that this deserves further discussion.
yes, we like to get out there ahead of it.
Yeah,
Just to stay on top of it.
and Debbie did put a little article in the Leader and it actually did get some traction with people. So there is interest out there, but I think we also need to see how Bill 23 comes into play.
Yeah, I will have another chapter chair meeting next Tuesday. So I'm going to be bringing some questions to see what my fellow CBOs are, what they're facing their challenges are. So,
Wow.
Well, keep us in the loop at the next meeting then.
you know,
Sounds like it'll be good February. Any other questions for Daryl?
thank you.
Have a great day, Daryl.
Hi, Darrell.
We've got Dave online and Kevin there.
Perfect. Can you
Okay.
bring the fire chief on, please?
He's there, he's there.
He's scary.
No, I said there he is.
Do you want to turn the screen on in a minute?
I'm sorry.
It's all right. We're very demanding. council today.
We really are. Scott must be busy. He's in his truck.
That's it, that's his tiny house office.
That's right. Exactly.
Mobile
Like so
office.
tiny.
Well, if that breaks, it won't be in the budget. That's
I know, right?
There we go.
Dave, are you there?
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes,
Yep.
sir.
Great. Sorry, another episode for my truck. I can't, don't have any room in my shop to do it today again. So, anyway. The year wrapped up, December, fairly slow. We had 5 calls. And the total for 2022 stayed pretty much in line with the last, on my report, there's 2020 to 2021, but even previous years we seem to be hovering in that between 60 and 70 a year. Doesn't seem to be any crazy swings. So, it's good that we're on average. We're not high this year. And, thank goodness, towards the holiday season, everything was very quiet as far as calls go. So, that was good news for us as well. So we are still in the recruiting process. I have 3 or 4 interviews that I'll be conducting in the next couple of days for potential new recruits. So that the interest seems to still be there in the community, which is good to see. So hopefully that stays going as we move forward. Of course, the beginning of the year is going to be booking all of our yearly maintenance stuff, which is always a very expensive thing with the fire department, making sure that ladders and SCBAs and trucks and all that kind of stuff is certified yearly. Even if you use it or not, it still has to be certified. So that's an ongoing expense with us. In the new business, I did forward the letter from the fire marshal's office with regards to the grant for our the help with training materials and whatnot. When I filled it out, I did fill it out as in we have a lot of new people on the department, and my number was around 20 people that were going to require assistance. We are going to require assistance for about 20 people to get them moving forward with the certification process. So I wasn't all that happy to see that we only received $973.
$73,000. That would have been awesome.
Yeah. So if you look at the training materials, the list there that I also sent as well, the essentials of firefighting is probably what we would go with. So we're looking at, outfitting less than 10 people. So I thought, it was kind of light. And I was kind of disappointed that, a small township like us with our small population and tax base and the number of firefighters that we needed to help with, that we didn't get more than that. So I'm not sure.
Mayor Murphy, you had a comment?
So Chief, Annette and I have a delegation at Roma with the Solicitor General, Michael Kersner, specifically about firefighter certification and the grants. So I too, I almost felt that it was a slap in the face. And with all their promises of help, to ensure that this certification wouldn't be a budget breaker, I was very disappointed. So yeah, Annette managed to get us a delegation on the 23rd.
Okay.
So I'll have something to report after Roma.
Okay. And I'm currently working on the legacy application process. So we're getting our paperwork together, making sure that that's all in order. That was one of their suggestions, because I think this round, I know the grandfathering round back in, I think it was 2015, when they opened up the grandfathering window, they did kind of a random audit process where some departments got caught up in it and some didn't. I believe this time they will be doing random auditing on all fire departments. So they had asked that we get all of our training documentation in order ahead of time before we do the application. Just so that, because if they get back to us and say that, we're going to audit X, Y, and Z firefighter, I have 10 days to get the training material back to the fire marshal's office, 10 business days. So the process is it's going to have to be quick. And when they do audit, if the firefighters that they audit don't meet a minimum, then what they'll do is they'll audit the entire department, or they will deny the legacy program for the department. So we have to make sure that all of our T's are crossed and our I's are dotted on this one. Make sure that everything's good. So, and that being said, we have quite a few people that I think we can get into this legacy program, which will mean that they'll have their Ontario seal, which is what this department is going to be going for. It won't be NFPA certification. It'll be the Ontario seal, which is kind of a watered down NFPA certification. And it should work well for us because we do have quite a few experienced people, a lot of new people, but a lot of experienced people as well. So hopefully that will help us in our certification process moving forward, that it won't be so much of a burden. But time will tell though.
We should add that to our delegation, that 10-day turnaround. That is absolutely unacceptable. If you're a full-time department with administrators and once again, this is proving that the province does not see us through a rural lens. Definitely, Chief, we'll add that to our delegation when we're in the room with the Sol Gen.
Rules are pretty, so what there's two actual openings. So they're requesting that if we have people we want to apply in the legacy process, then they want us to do it now, because if there are any issues, they're going to bring that back up when the second window opens. So then you can, if it's a paperwork, if it's a information, we haven't sent enough information or they're looking for more stuff, that's when the second window opens, that's when we would do that. Or we could also add people to it if we're comfortable enough doing that as well. But they want to give us the time to be able to, take that second opportunity to get everything in order before they actually approve us. So that's why they're wanting the applications to go now as opposed to the second round, right, for timing wise. So anyway, we'll see what happens. And that's all we can do is make our applications, make sure our paperwork is in order, and go from there.
Any questions from council? Comments? Dave, do you have anything else for us?
No, that's everything for this month. It's like I said, it's been kind of a quiet over the Christmas holidays. It's always even quiet from the government side. So that's about all I have for this time.
Perfect. Well, have yourself a great day there, Dave, and thanks for
You
being
too. Thank you.
Kevin, come on up. Good afternoon, Kevin. So, go ahead with your report, sir.
You can see my report is.
You know what? You're following Daryl's footsteps in 2023. But to be fair, we did have an extensive report prior to the break, and we're only about 2 weeks since then, 3 weeks.
A quick turnaround.
Yeah.
The only question I had was, is it cold enough now for the outdoor ring?
Well, a couple things. We were over there yesterday and there's a little, probably about 2 inches of snow. I kind of looked at the weather forecast and said, we'll just wait and see what's going to go on. There's snow coming.
It's supposed to go up like 0 tomorrow.
Well, next week's it's supposed to fluctuate.
Ball hockey.
We cleaned it off once and then Mother Nature cleaned it right off for us the second time. So just kind of wait and see what goes on.
When we put the extra set of nets up at Legion Field, were they heavily utilized last year?
At times,
At times, like,
times,
do we have them? up
They're
there?
still, yeah.
They're still up there,
yeah,
okay.
Yeah,
Hmm.
it's one of those things, it's like, you know, you
Well, it's just
get a
an-
nice Sunday afternoon or something, people do use, like, you know, a group of kids.
Well, and that's why it's an option, because
Yeah.
I know the one, just at Centennial is kind of until it gets real cold.
Yeah, that's right,
So,
that's right.
still early in the year.
It's been a weird winter.
Yeah, and it's like, you know, we get a week of good cold weather, like -15 or so, then
Yeah,
you make good days and away you go, but it's until we get that, it's. You know, you can do a lot of work and
Gone overnight.
yeah.
it can't be. So, and as we'll stay on top of the weather turns long, come up in long range, if it turns cold and absolutely.
Yeah, but that's perfect.
Yeah. As you can see, like, with the arena, over the Christmas holidays, we had great, lots of private rentals, you know, families coming in during the ice time, so we were quite busy. Hockey tournaments are just starting now in January, so, we have 5 consecutive Sundays right in February, every Sunday being in June. It's just,
Great.
it's, you know, it's steady, plus then a couple Sundays there this past Sunday, once the minor hockey's done, the junior Bs are right on after, so it's like, you know, it's continuous, so which is good to see, and that's what you want to see. And same with the Eagles Nest over this Christmas holiday, we had other parties come in the hall, so it was a benefit.
Yes.
So anyway, outside of that, I don't have any further. You council have any questions? I can touch base on our public skating. We're booked right through, sponsored right through the end of March. The senior moms and tots sponsors are coming in. They're not as fast as the other ones, but and numbers for that is we're hovering right around 15 people. 10 to 15 people coming out for the moms and tots, and it's getting, like, you know, there was a stroller out yesterday with a mom with a young baby and another one, so it's getting, what more can you ask for, like, you know, so.
Yeah.
Well, as long as we have consistency over
Yeah,
the
and that's the
years,
thing.
over the years,
Yeah.
like it'll slowly increase as well.
Our public skating numbers are 50 plus,
That is fantastic.
pretty consistent all the way through.
Wow.
It's
Are we turning away any people for, like, what is our capacity roughly?
well, and that's sort of a gray area.
Yeah,
You kind of look at the safety issue, but then
but we haven't had to turn any
No,
away.
no,
for the-
not
Okay,
whatsoever.
no, that's great. That's great then.
the biggest thing is keep the younger ones from playing tag and that kind of stuff, so.
So sponsorship for Mums Tots is the same as the public skating?
No, it is not, John. The moms and tots, it's $100 an hour. The seniors gate is 130.
Any dads show up? Was it just moms?
No, I was in Grapples too, Grapples. So,
Parent taught?
yeah. So I know.
That's great. All right, well, any other questions from council? Kevin, have yourself a great day. Thank you.
Right, Kevin.
Yeah, thank you.
One of our most successful programs, I think, in terms of participation.
It's fantastic.
Annette? Over to you.
Thank you. So I didn't have anything from Annette Bacon to report, because as you said, we were just here on December 20th. And then the office was closed for a week, so not a lot to report back. But one thing that is due is the post-election accessibility report is due to be reported to council by January 23rd. So I do have that to report on. And basically it talks about, how we followed our accessibility plan and how we followed, our procedures and that put in place to make sure that the election is as accessible as possible. So obviously the election day itself was held at the Legion, which is an accessible building. So if anybody had issues, staff was there, we were right there at the door. If somebody, needed help opening the door, that kind of thing. There was magnifying glasses behind the blinders there, so you could go in and vote if you needed that. We have the vote by mail, so that makes it accessible as well. If you can't make it out for whatever reason out of your house, you can have your package by vote by mail and vote that way. The only issue that really came up through it was that we had a request from the senior center, from the Echo Center. They said, was there any way that we could have held an advance vote in their facility, which, seniors quite often go to make it a little bit more accessible or easy for them, instead of having to find a drive all the way over to the Legion. So whether it would be at Fairfield specifically or at the Echo Center. So unfortunately, by the time we were having that discussion, it was the end of September. So everything had already been printed, and so all of the election notices had gone out, all of the vote by mail packages had gone out, and it said, here's the places you can vote, right, by mail at the Legion. So what I said was, definitely that sounds like another opportunity to make our election accessible. We're open to it, but it would have to wait until 2026. So that's in the report. That's definitely something in 2026 when we're planning the election. We wouldn't do it on the same day because that makes it difficult if you have all different places open on the same day. So we probably still have election day at the Legion, but we may have it like 2 weeks beforehand, a day at the Echo Center or Fairfield or whichever. So making it more accessible for people who maybe don't want to do the vote by mail, but still want to have the opportunity to vote, but the Legion is just one step too far for them to get to. So that's one way we can make it more accessible, and everything else, like I said, we follow through the accessibility requirements and our plan and our procedures. And we didn't have any other issues or complaints come forward to myself. So that's my report back to you. If you have any comments or thoughts on other ways we can make it more accessible, let me know.
Comments, questions from council?
Fairfields is our only geared for seniors housing unit, so we should be able to make that happen.
I hope they were more accessible than our campaign day was there, John. What showed up? 3?
Well, I know.
It was kind of sad.
That's okay. We can do better next time.
Just like the breakfast.
I think we spent more time visiting with each other.
Perfect. Well, Annette, thank you for your report.
Thanks. And that's all that I have.
Awesome, thank you. Miss Sandra Barr, for your report.
Dollars and cents.
Okay, so if you look, I'm going off this document, the financial indicator review.
Mhm.
So our year end is December 31st. The auditors come on site near the end of February. And they complete the year end audit. And then once they're done, they submit, all our data is submitted to the province. The province reviews our financial data, and then they send us our report card in December. And this is based on 2021.
I was gonna say, they sent it to us 20 months later.
Yeah, so it's a little late.
10-day turnaround.
Yeah,
Okay, and so this
Get our money back.
that's how old that information is.
on our financial health. And they compare us to other municipalities that they deem to be similar to us, but that being said, they're still somewhat larger than us generally.
Yes.
So for first category, taxes receivable, which is our tax arrears, our risk is low. We had 8.9%. We usually fluctuate between 8% and 11%. And our rating is low, and this is good because this is indicating that our ratepayers, for the most part, are able to afford the taxes that we're levying. Our net debt, our debt risk is low. Our debt load might be a little higher compared to other municipalities, but they're still considering us low risk.
And having debt, just so we have the Ontario Municipal Partnership Fund. And we actually get favorable monies from the government because of our debt load. So in this case, debt is good.
It's like going for grants, right? You want to have a lower income
Yeah.
Yes,
on your balance sheet.
yes, but it's sort of like your credit score, right? If you have a credit card and you pay it off and you look at your example is exactly correct. Yeah.
So our reserve funds, our risk is low. And our reserve funds are growing, so that's why the number is increasing, which is good. We're up over previous years. Our cash ratio, they're considering our risk also low because our cash reserves are up. And that's due to the increased reserves, which is great. And then for our flexibility indicators, for debt servicing, we are at 6.6% and they're saying our risk for that is moderate. Our asset consumption ratio has also been rated as moderate. But as far as the province is concerned, we are in a good financial position. We are consuming our assets faster than we're replacing them though, which is same can be said for almost everybody in the
No,
province.
not almost, just everybody, just everybody. Nobody is keeping up with their asset management plan, unfortunately.
And our annual surplus risk is good. We've been ending the year with a small surplus, so we're at 2.6%. So that is good. Also in your package was a tax adjustment report for a cottage at Golden Lake that was demolished. It has been rebuilt. But so were there any questions on the tax adjustment report for last year?
No, seemed pretty straightforward, to be honest, so, and it's also like a year or 20 months later, so.
But that's why I brought, and I'm glad that Sandra said, this is from 2021. So timely information is what we really need. Like, where are we on January 10th, 2023? And I appreciate the FIRs and I think that they have a place, but not when they're 2 years old.
Anything else from any other members council? Perfect. Thanks a lot, Sandra. Anyone need a break? Or is everyone good?
Take
Perfect.
a break before it closed, maybe.
Anything for you, the mayor? Perfect. Correspondence A. Was there any comments from anything from correspondence A? Perfect. We'll move on to correspondence B.
Boy, those sheep farmers, they really, we should have talked about that while Daryl was
Do
here.
do they need a break here?
Yeah.
Well,
Anyone need one?
Right?
LPG.
Yeah, LGG, that's trying to be kind.
Yeah. But
I'm pretty sure in our zoning, we redefined the, like, don't we have this already in our zoning? I
You know
thought
what?
this was in it.
I didn't read
There's
it.
something, no, oh, fine. Thing is, have we received a complaint? No, there we go, perfect.
No, okay. I do, the Montessori Museum, we always do
That's
the,
Yeah, I can see.
yeah.
Yeah, that's standard.
They're planning that now.
Anyone else have anything else to comment on anything? Everyone seem pretty good?
You want to do opposition to Bill 23?
Can I just ask a quick question? So Lanark County, the violence against women, do we have a similar stat for here? I thought that was pretty high. The amount of women that have suffered abuse and
They are higher than us.
500 and something, right?
Yeah.
Do we have any kind of stats for Montego Valley? Do you know?
No, but I can get from.
I'm just curious where we stand in that.
Well, the police service board.
Yeah.
That should be in the, or informational file or no?
It's pretty confidential.
Oh, yeah.
I thought that was a high number.
It
in a
is.
Small community.
It is.
Mhm.
Just played for the grant. The police services board?
No, it's just the relation.
Okay.
No, and you
Separate.
get your stats from them.
Yeah, it's
Oh,
more
your
in
stats you're
relation to
talking
the
about, okay.
stats, yeah.
Yeah, because there's a grant available. I just signed the,
Oh, okay,
don't worry about it.
that's perfect.
So the correspondence from McNabb, Braeside and Tweed, those are for information. Are there things we should do in the same respect in terms of asking for relief?
So if you would like to, we can bring back those resolutions to our next meeting,
Okay.
if you'd like to support them. And I do think that we should maybe support Napanee, and definitely support McNabb Braeside. I guess it's Napanee and Kingston are concerned about Bill 23.
Mhm. Okay.
So I could think about a motion on the issue and take it to Annette to make sure it's appropriately worded. Is that the idea?
She'll just do the wording that they,
And then we'll
normally
get,
when we do a resolution, we do an exact what the previous person had
perfect sense,
done.
yes.
And the problem with resolutions is, and we know this, is that they get to the ministry and they sit on some staffer's desk. And so whenever there's something really big, we try and get the warden to write a letter, because sometimes the letters get further than, yeah.
The value of the resolution might be in showing our own ratepayers that we're concerned about that issue.
And that's exactly why,
And why don't we do that?
yes.
Okay, I'll support that.
The two resolutions at the next council meeting, one, the McNabb Braeside on the reduced tax on fuel used for heat, and
Yep.
the second one for opposing bill 23.
Yes,
Let's do it.
Thank you.
not that opposing bill 23 is gonna do anything, but I think that we should at least throw our hat in the ring.
Okay, was there anything else in correspondence B? Okay, and there's nothing in correspondence C, so that's perfect. In new and unfinished business, we already had our post-election accessibility report. Did anyone else have any further comments on Ness report that she presented? Seeing none, perfect. Anyone have any other questions or comments on Sandra's report for the provincial financial indicator review? Perfect. And then the tax adjustment that Sandra had brought up, was there any questions or comments on that?
Now, is that the same as the tax adjustment mentioned in our package on raising the rates, water rates?
No,
No,
no, no, no.
This
that's
is
just-
just, this was for a demolished property on Golden Lake that was,
Oh, I'm sorry,
that was
okay.
rebuilt.
yeah, so if you tear something down,
You have to adjust.
we adjust.
Or if it burns
that.
down.
Or if it burns down, good point.
Yeah.
And then when you rebuild, then MPAC assesses and then Sandra adds that.
What if the firefighters burn your house down?
No, I think you're on your own.
Just teasing.
Okay, and then did have a number 4, and that was fishing on Golden Lake with Murph.
I was reading in the Eagle Leader where Kittle Higgity Richards is going to petition the MNR to stock Round Lake. And it has been stocked about 20 years ago. I wonder if there's any value, because fishing at Golden Lake is terrible. Is there any value on us talking to KHR and saying, do you mind if we join and maybe have Norfolk
Yeah,
Wilberforce
no.
and Algonquin, Pickwapping, that whole watershed?
Yes,
Yes, because Golden Lake is bad, terrible. It's polluted with smelt. And I know what's wrong with it. It's gotta be stopped. It's gotta be fixed. I've tried a few times and it's gone nowhere.
So
no, I think we can definitely do that.
I think,
yeah, like what I was gonna say, maybe between yourself and Net, maybe draft up a letter and then we can forward to the local municipalities. Like we can get them involved on, get them to sign off on, because it makes sense. I agree, Merv. Hey, we stock every lake. I'd be so ecstatic. I love fishing. That's perfect.
yeah, and the fishing in Golden Lake is terrible.
Yeah,
It's
100%.
because it's polluted with smelt.
Mhm.
I've raised it a couple of times. I tried to get the Property Owners Association involved when Yakubowski was the Minister of Natural Resources, and my pitch was, if you can't get it fixed now when he's the minister, we'll never get it fixed. Well, they did. I'd even offered to arrange a meeting, and nothing went anywhere. So,
Yeah, no, there's nothing wrong with sending a letter out, trying to get everyone involved in. I think it's a great suggestion, Merv.
you know, yeah,
We might need to talk to Brady when we're at, well, maybe I'll just text him. Grady Smith is the Minister of MNRF now.
okay,
I need to have a chat with him.
yeah.
Yeah, no, definitely. Like we should kind of, I guess,
Like I could spend a half
Support
an
it.
hour here telling them what's wrong and what the solution is, but it's not gonna do anybody any good.
So 2 questions.
Yeah.
When they stock Round Lake, I assume they stock lake trout,
Lake trout, yes.
Yeah.
but you're not looking for that in
Well,
Golden?
yes, I have to.
Okay,
Tell you why we have to. Lake trout's favorite food is smelt.
there you go.
That's why,
Perfect
from
marriage.
the smelt in there. That's why if you look back at cleaning up Lake Ontario, going back when I was in Oshawa in the 60s, you went down to the dock and smelt season and you took 2 dippings or 3 dippings and you headed out of there. But now the trout are feeding on the smelt in Lake Ontario. We need trout to feed on the smelt here.
Okay.
M&R will tell you the water wasn't deep enough here. But from information I've received from some old timers, Golden Lake at one time was a prime trout lake.
Wasn't it walleye as well? Aren't they working?
Well,
on
yeah,
stock
no,
in
no,
walleye?
trout and walleye are 2 different things. The walleye, yeah, there's another reason they went down the 2, but Yeah, and, for instance, if they figure that it's too shallow for gray trout, put in rainbows, like my daughter's in Saskatchewan, they just lakes there about the size of one of our bays and the rainbow are doing well in it.
Yeah.
Like clean it up with rainbow.
Okay, let's get that letter going. And then you and I will go down to John Yakubowski's office and we'll give him what for.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Oh, yeah.
He's not the minister anymore.
He's not the minister of natural
We'll make
resources.
him
I
sure
was
he is.
When he was minister of natural resources, that's what I wanted.
Take
The
some fish
the
and chips.
minister is one of my friends.
If we really wanted to get something done, we'd go see Laura Lipinski, is that right?
You know, Nat can watch this, right?
Perfect. So that John, Mervin and Ned are gonna get a letter and we'll get that out. Perfect. Thanks for volunteering on that, John, as well.
Yeah.
But no, it's a great suggestion, Merv.
I love it.
Yeah,
We gotta do something about it. I mean, the lake is, I didn't even put in the boat last year.
That further supports the tourism strategy that Richard just talked about.
it absolutely does.
Mervin,
Close the loop on that.
if they do, we'll give you your own lake trout to throw in for you.
Okay.
Perfect. So it sounds like we're moving forward with
That's
that.
exactly what I thought on the lake.
I do, and they're talking about walleye restocking, sorry.
Yeah.
That's probably.
So what we'll do is we'll establish the next meeting. The next meeting is February 7th. And we're meeting at the animal shelter at 12:30, and that will remind us as well. Media session. Debbie, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. So the one question that I had, like, the tourism presentation was really good and, I thought like he had very concrete, just in his brief overview there, very concrete plans, going forward for several years. But anyway, one of the things, when he says initiate a council-led downtown Eganville revitalization initiative. So, and the downtown core, I mean, it's an ongoing issue. Are there things that are being done, can be done?
We are
Where are
going-
we at?
We're going to open up our community improvement plan.
Okay,
This was one of our plans anyway, to talk about it. Probably in the way, or during budget, well, before budget. But that's the road he was going down.
because I know.
I don't think he expects us to revitalize. I think he wants us to give tools.
Right.
Yeah.
But, I mean, people always, that's an issue, and I'm sure like in the election as well, like people are always talking about the eyesores,
Yep.
you know. So it's being looked at, I guess, right?
Yep.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, and that's it for me.
Perfect. Thanks, Debbie. As we will take a 5-minute break, and then after that, we'll come back and we'll go into closed session. I will just take a 5-minute break. Perfect. Got that? Go live and then we're gonna go back off. Good? Perfect. So, could I have a mover to move us in the close, please? Merv, second by John. Committee proceeding closed session in accordance with Municipal Act 2001, section 239.2, being a personal matter about an identifiable individual, including a municipal or local board employees, to discuss the assessment and fostering of Buddy, the only dog in the shelter. All those in favor? Perfect. Thank you very much. And Annette, can you please take us off? camera.
Doesn't it-
Perfect.
All the blue paper has.
So could I have a mover, please? The move is that closed.
Sure.
Mr. Epps, Murphy. Committee moves out of closed session to rise and report. The committee met to receive information, give staff direction regarding assessment fostering a buddy and to approve minutes from December 6th, 2022. All those in favor? Perfect. And that is everything for our meeting. Could I please have a mover to adjourn the meeting? Counselor Saunderson, Mr. Buckwald, all those in favor? Perfect. Thank you very much. And that's it.
5:30 on Zoom?
Whenever you say mover, I keep
Yeah.
wanting to say shaker. Sorry, now.